I'll wait till I have everybody's undivided attention to announce our speaker. Everybody's undivided attention in the back of the room. So today's topic is knowing your why. I'm welcoming Aldo Adriian. He was born in Cape Town, South Africa, and worked in the computer industry in a variety of technical positions since 1976. In 1990, Aldo started a financial counseling business in real estate, focusing on foreclosures, mortgages, and debt elimination. Today, he combines being a small business owner with working in corporate America, and he enjoys it a lot. Aldo is married, has 3 grown-up daughters, and a couple of grandsons who also all live in Australia. He's an avid reader and a fanatical motorcyclist who has put over 100,000 miles on his motorcycle traveling across the country. If there is only one question he is ever able to seek the answer for, it is why. Aldo will talk about knowing your why, which is successful thinkers' first step out of our 9 steps to success. So I welcome Aldo Adriian to the front.
Wow, that was a great introduction. Thank you. I've got some handouts here, and I'm going to try and cover a lot of information in 20 minutes. And I apologize for 2 slides being on 1 page, but I was trying to save a few trees. Anyway, for new guests, the new guests, Successful Thinkers has a 9 steps to success plan or program, and I've listed it here on the first page. Knowing your why, being a student, read daily, listen to inspiring stories, be positive and edify others, invite others, get recognized, show up, and set one-on-ones. And what I'm going to do today is focus on knowing your why, because I consider it really the first step to being a successful thinker. And successful thinkers, this particular group has got over 500 people in it. Each person here knows at least 200 people, so you do the math. You've got a reach here of 10,000 people in this community, potentially. Plus there are so many other different groups. And so if there's anything that you're interested in achieving, it could be done through this network as an alternative community. I've also put a little diagram on the front page that shows, the 8 different intelligences. Each one of us comes to this meeting with a different category or combination of intelligences, so it's worthwhile meeting every single person. So, we live in a very interesting world today. There's tons of opportunity, amazing technology, tablets, smartphones, apps, webs, tools, but there's also amazing destructive capability, and we've seen that in the news and so forth. So we need to work on the other side of that, continue to be creative and oppose that. But then there's also everyone's trying to sell you their way, their philosophy and so forth. But I would like you to remember, Frank Sinatra, you got to do it my way, right? Your way. Your way is the only way that's really going to resonate with you and it's going to work for you. So whoever talks to you, including me, just take what you need from it and incorporate it in your life. There's an app for everything, isn't there? On your smartphone, on your Android, and so forth. But there's no app for vibrant health. And there's no app for creating abundant wealth or magical relationships. You've got to do that yourself. So the only app is you and personal thought with deliberate creation. You've got to focus on that. So when it comes down to getting what it is that you want, there's an old saying that says, ask, believe, receive. And most of the trainers are saying, well, believe is not enough anymore, you got to know. You got to know this is for you. So, but before you get there, you need to ask why, right? It's the one question I'm always asking, why am I doing stuff? Anyway, here's a bunch of whys. Why am I alive? Why am I alive? So that I can know what my purpose is. Why am I acting in the roles that I'm acting in? We're all acting in roles every day. Fathers, sons, daughters, business people, all kinds of different roles. So you can choose what your responsibilities are. Then the other thing is your time. Why are you allocating the time that you do? You need balance. There are many, many very wealthy people, but they're not enjoying themselves. There are many, many poor people. They could be, a lot wealthier. So you need to ask that question. And then what drives me? What's your passion? We always ask people that come here, what's your passion? We get all kinds of passions that people mention, and it's really cool to know that. The other big question is, why have I not yet achieved my goals? This is a big one, right? A lot of us have had goals. I've had some goals for 10, 15 years. I haven't achieved them, and I need to know why. Why isn't that appeared here? And so we need to know what fears we need to fix or overcome. And then if you're selling something, why would I buy what I offer? So that you know that you're authentic and you have integrity with everything that you do. So, we need to spend energy on better thoughts. I was listening to Guy Finley the other day. I don't know if any of you listened to him. He's a Christian trainer from Oregon. Anyway, he was saying, anything we desire comes with a borrowed will to excite us. So we get interested in something, and the excitement starts, but the will that comes with it to get going only lasts so long. It's like that in everything that we do. So we need to come up with a will to continue to do that. Brian Tracy was one of my trainers years ago, put out a book called Eat That Frog, which is the major task that you have to do at the beginning of the day so your day can start right. But I'm trying to find a way around that. So I would say, well, if you eat a frog, add some salt, some pepper, some salsa, call it escargot, get through the thing somehow, right? The other thing we need to do is to align to our higher self. It breathes us and gives us energy every single day. And, if God's your partner, you can get anything done. If you try and do it on your own, it doesn't matter what you call the God of your understanding. It's a higher force. It's something that you need to become. So it's very, very important to do that, and that's what meditation is for. All of us live in a different size of box. Okay, that box is basically the borders that are our limiting beliefs. We have a certain amount of limiting beliefs, and we continually have to push that to meet our desires. So think of that box that you live in and how you can grow that box. The other problem that we have today is stress. And stress is the #1 cause of disease in America. And stress is nothing but incorrect expectations and not living in the present moment. I've spent the last 5 or 6 months trying to figure out how to live in the present moment, and it's pretty hard. Taking power of now and taking totally and stuff like that, trying to figure out how to get that done. So that needs work. But it's like trying to tune into FM 103.7, but you find you're at 103.5 or 103.9. You can't quite get to where you really feel best and achieve right. So it's a vibrational issue that you need to solve. A lot of people are bringing up courses about that today. All right. Keep on racing on here. Spending energy on better thoughts continued. Every struggle that we have is sent to us for us to grow. So it's kind of a tax that you pay on for your energy and your breath that you get. We're not doing this by ourselves. Something is breathing us. Something is giving us energy, and we have to pay for that. There's a price for that. And that's one of the, I think, as an immigrant, it's one of the reasons I moved to America is because there's just so much opportunity, so many things to do here, and there's very few restrictions. And my friend Jorge was originally from Bolivia, the same kind of deal is we come here, we're very grateful for the opportunity, and the only limitation is really how we think about who we are and what we do. But it's a continued thing because you continue, you want more, right? Continue, you want more. So, but you have to find smart ways around it. There's an old saying that says, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. But you can salt his oats. So, anyway, so just a couple of recommendations is that whenever you run into a struggle, especially when you're trying to figure out what your why is, your purpose in life and so forth, is revisit the intentions that you set. And there's a concept called virtual reality imagination, which is what people are calling creative visualization these days. And another concept called instant pre-play, instead of instant replay. Try and imagine yourself already as having achieved what it is you're trying to get to. Right? So these ideas are things that are being put out into the internet these days, and you can search them on YouTube. Whenever you run into a problem, weigh your options as to where you are now, not where you think you should be. So, once you get ticked off about not achieving something, said, okay, let's start over. Let's get back here. What are my options? And then work in the present moment. Then ask the divine for help. Ask for clues. Ask for even customers. I've been asking for customers in my business lately. I just sit down quietly and say, send me a customer. Why not? Right? Works. Ask for enlightenment. Replace your mediocre feelings with noble ones. And just know that your struggle is an inaccurate expectation or just a growth spurt that you have to go through. Most of the time, the fears that we run into in discovering who we need to be turned out to be nothing. They were just, you know, stuff that you needed to get through. So, the universe doesn't duplicate anything or honor mediocrity. It wants plants to grow from rocks. It takes our expired breath and feeds it to trees, and they return the oxygen to us, so we connect it to everything that's out there. So, you know, there's a lot of support for us in what it is we're trying to achieve. We just need to keep that. Next slide here. Some questions to keep us on track. What's the shortest distance between here and completion, and how to have fun at it? You know, I started a journey about 6-7 months ago, and I've been all across the world, so many different places. But the hardest journey is to go inside and ask yourself, you know, why are you struggling in certain places in your life? Doesn't matter whether it's your relationships, your business, your expectations, or whatever. And I must have read like 50 books in the last 4 or 5 months, just trying to search for answers and so forth. And most of them come up and say, you know, whatever it is you're trying to do, you need to have fun with it. A lot of us are just trying to say, well, I'm struggling with this area, maybe I shouldn't be in this particular place. But there's another way to look at it, is you already have stuff in front of you. You just need to become what it needs for you to succeed at it. So consider that. Another thing is that we're doing too much at the same time. I think it was Heather mentioned last week, instead of multitasking, single task. I think she mentioned that. So our mind needs to work slow enough to enjoy observing the universe working through us. I don't know if you've noticed this, if any of you are writers or poets or anything like that. But sometimes you have writer's block and you sit with a pad of paper and you just put your pen on the pad of paper and then it seems like something starts to move. You didn't do anything. It just moves. So the more and more you can start to live your life like that and let the force work through you, you know, it starts to get really interesting just to watch and observe that. Another thing is allocating time for important projects. If you've got a project you want to complete, is it in your calendar? Because if it's not in your calendar and you don't obey your calendar, the project's not going to get completed. I run into that a lot. I run, you know, between my corporate business and my small business, probably 40, 50 projects at some time, and if it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. You know? Then, the other thing is time. Where's your time being spent? What's the most profitable use of my time? What can I outsource to lower paid help? I use, I don't know if does any of you use Odesk or Elance? There's a couple of people. Great resources. Odesk is a relatively new facility where you can have a virtual assistant work for you for $1 or $2 an hour somewhere in Bangladesh or around the world. And if you can rearrange your work in such a way that they can do certain things for you, you can achieve all kinds of cool stuff. You know? So it's a thing to take a look at. The other thing is continually trying to get better thoughts. So ask yourself daily, what are my top 5 thoughts to manifest what I want and to stretch my box, the box that I live in. And then the other thing that happens to us is we have these thoughts that come up, right? We don't know where they come from, we don't know who gives them to us. And then you can ask yourself, if you can pay attention to it, does this thought move me towards what I want or away from it? Does this feeling or emotion make me happy or unhappy? You have the ability to query your thoughts. You don't have to accept the thoughts coming in. So that's why there's so much talk about becoming aware, watching what it is that you're doing, so that you can deliberately decide what it is you want to do in the moment. Then the other thing is spending time. Some people have pity parties. We were talking about that at my table a minute ago. That you can have the opposite of a pity party, which is a celebration party, but pre-play it and say things like, how will I feel and what will I do when I achieve the milestones to each one of my goals or achieve my intentions? Right? It's a much better thing to visualize. Okay. I'm reading some interesting books where people are starting to talk about directly talking to your subconscious mind. So we have three parts to, our brain system. The conscious mind, things that we're actually asking for, we're asking for goals. The subconscious mind, the part of you that manages 70 trillion cells, right? There's white blood corpuscles fighting red blood corpuscles. There's viruses being attacked, and we're standing here having lunch, right? You don't know anything about it, right? And then there's the superconscious, the part that actually talks to infinite possibility, the God of your understanding. So, more and more people are talking about saying, you should learn to talk to your subconscious. It's kind of like there's a relationship going on there. The conscious mind is male, the subconscious mind is female. You have a male-female relationship. How many times have you asked yourself to do something and the subconscious mind says, I don't want it? Does it sound like a husband and wife relationship or a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship? So you got to do something for your subconscious for it to do something for you. Maybe you need to take it out, go for a walk, take it to a hot tub or something, right? But there is a relationship there, and if you don't do work in that relationship, you end up with stinking thinking, because it sends you bad vibes, right? And you can't get stuff done. And you can say, just give me a better feeling. I want to feel better. Give me a better feeling. You can start doing things like that. So it's a progression on affirmations. It's kind of a new way to speak to yourself, self-talk. Your mind is like a lazy Susan of data. It's got all kinds of crap in there from the time that you were a kid, and it just keeps on throwing things up at you, and you wonder, where the hell did that come from? Right? And so you don't have to accept that. The other thing is that you have an ego that's built into you, part of your animal brain that wants to protect you. I started to think of my ego as a dog after I read The Power of Now. And I have a much better relationship with my ego as a dog because it barks at me all the time. So you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't talk to this person. Shut up, I'm going to talk to him anyway. Right? But you have to understand that it's there, so you know how to deal with it, rather than thinking it's you. You are something else other than these other personalities that are there. The other problem we have to deal with is our subconscious mind is about 6 seconds faster than the conscious mind. So we tend to sense things. Our subconscious mind senses things before they're going to happen, so it can protect us. So the problem with that is that you start getting these feelings and emotions and so forth, and you haven't really had a chance to deal with it yet. So understand that most of the time the data is wrong, or the data's come from a time that, where the data's not valid anymore. And that's how you can change and deal with those kind of feelings before they have a total effect on you. This next chart here is pretty interesting. It's from David Hawkins, from a book I read called Power versus Force. And in this book, if you're kind of an engineer brain like me, there is a ladder. If you look over at the third column there's a level of emotions or experiences that people have, starting from the lowest human emotion of shame, moving up from shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. If you can figure out how to stay present, stay aware, you can choose what level of consciousness you want to operate on in the moment, and that's one of my particular goals, right? I would rather be a person that lives in a space of love, joy, peace, and enlightenment most of the time in my life. There are things that detract and pull you away from that, but that would be a nice goal, rather than being in shame or grief or anger or something like that when something comes into you. People send you a stimulus, we give them a response, right? So there are people that do things that maybe upset you, piss you off, or something like that. But if you're aware of this particular chart and aware that you have a choice, maybe in that particular moment you'll snap out of the subconscious, go into the conscious to say whatever you want to say that takes you into one of these other different states, so you don't have to live in the lower state. Now, someone like Mother Teresa, her life would be spent up at the second row there in the peace level, around 600. Okay? And of course, someone like Jesus would be way up the charts, right?